Welcome everyone, Rabid here, and today we are checking out the newly released breakout board from Parallelminer known as the ZSX-AMP. So before we actually get into this video, just point out this is the older breakout ZSX right here, and obviously this is the game changer with the new current meter sitting right here and a little bit of layout changes which we will go over. But yeah, if you've seen this video for this breakout board, this just started shipping on April 8th, and keep in mind they will sell out fast. I'm sure you know that. Links in the description. Pick it up before it's gone, because who knows when they could be back. Here we have our ZSX here on the right and our ZSX amp on the left. So we're just going to go over some quick visual changes that we can see right off the get-go here. And here you can see our fan controllers. These have two red ones here and two power management. Now here we only have one power management and they're all black now. There's no red ones dividing them up. Now we can see our Molex port here is down a bit, where on our old ZSX they're here. These are actually your remote function, which we'll get through in a minute, and they're also labeled, but you can't see that here. Now the big change really on this whole breakout board is that this one has a current, or I guess an amp voltage here. They have it under current. They have voltage and current. So this actually reads in your currents, your amps, I guess. That gives it the name ZSX amp. So you times whatever you have here in amps, and that'll kind of give you your wattage based on your amps that you're using, depending if you're on 120 or 240 volt. And then obviously we still have our voltage here. So for these are for all our PCI Express, so it should be a 12 volt rail, which is what our 6 pins are. So this will usually read around 12.2, 11.9 in that rough area. Another change that we do have here is the old power button is kind of down in the corner here beside our little lights that tells us our 12 volt PC and DC if they're powered or not. And over here they actually moved it to the center. That is because they slid this around, added in some capacitors. They also moved some of the PCI Express 6 pins around. As you can see, there's two here, but they got an extra one going across the middle one right here. We're sliding a little bit, and here they're all just paired up. Nothing that great of a big deal. They're both 16 PCI Express slots, but overall just a little layout change just to kind of get some in. This board is also a little bit bigger than this one, length and width wise. As I said earlier, here's where it is displayed remote port. Like you can see on the normal ZSX right here, it is not labeled, and the reason for this, I believe, is they were getting some RMA calls because I think we only have like 5 volts here, and this is for remote ports only. That is to, like, say, sync up an ATX power supply to tell us to turn on, or another 1200 watt server PSU to turn on with this one. So that's just like remote functionality, a timer, whatever. And this is the one that actually has your 12 volt power on it. So people were plugging this one in here into here, not necessarily this port. Like, it comes with this cable, a Molex, which splits out into a SATA and another Molex. So people were plugging in their SSD drives, possibly running fan controllers and a whole bunch of other stuff off this that you would with Molex. And then so they're plugging this instead of here, they're putting in the remote section here. So now it actually does say remote, just to kind of clear that up. So do not use this for power at all. Like the other breakout board, I tested it out on a riser. If you plug in this powered Molex here, you will not have power to it unless you actually have the 24 pin plugged into a motherboard. And the whole purpose of this whole thing is to run your complete system, just like the other ZSX motherboard. It does have your 24 pin here, which would plug here. And as you can see, it comes out to your 8 pin for your CPU, as well as your 24 pin for your motherboard. So this would run your complete system off a server power supply without, say, Pico switches and all that other stuff, which you come out of a 6 pin and it looks like a bunch of gobbledygook and all over the place. So yes, this does actually need the complete setup so that you do have power coming out of this Molex, which kind of sucks. Hopefully Parallelminer can change it. Sure, you can probably get 6 pin to female SATA adapters and whatnot, because I'm kind of running into the dilemma myself with a rig build, because I don't want to use an ATX, but I do want this Molex to work, but I have to have a hook to a system. So for my next build, I am going to have to just use an ATX power supply based on this Molex not working. If this would work by itself, which I think they actually are looking into, we talked about it before when I first got this breakout board, so I think they are fixing that, so I can't wait till they do that. So if you are familiar with the first ZSX motherboard, then you already know about the cabling, but if not, we'll run through what it actually comes with. It does come with everything the normal ZSX did. So we have our 24 pin, as we stated, which does split out to your 24 pin to your motherboard, as well as the 8 pin for your CPU. And it also comes with this Molex, which does split into a Molex as well as a SATA adapter. So this would be to run your SSD drive, and this could be for a fan controller or whatever else you might need Molex for. Obviously the installation is really quite simple and easy. We'll hook it up to a motherboard. So this would hook up to here. The 24 pin is the only slot it can go. And again, this does have to go to this SATA port or this Molex port, not this one. And now it is labeled remote. So you do not plug anything in here except for a remote functionality. So this is your standard HP server power supply. As you can see right here, this is 1200 watts on 240 volt. If it was on 110 volt, 120 volt, depending where you live, this would only have 900 watts peak, but still it's a lot cheaper than getting an ATX power supply at like 750 watts. So it's a pretty good deal. I do recommend HP server power supplies. We also got this big bad boy here. This is a 2400 watt, has slots for 2 breakout boards, so ultimately giving you up to like 32 PCI Express slots for your rigs. So you have a lot of PCI Express options to deal with and not have to worry about having to use SATA or Molex and anything. But to simply install this, it is quite simple. Well, I do must say, I forgot, this only runs on 240 volt, so you cannot run this off 120 at all. So if you do want to get a big beast like this, you do have to have 240 volt for that. But now to simply install this, it's just like any other breakout board. You just take those pins to these pins, see there's those pins, and they'll just slide into there like so. You just line it up, push it in, and we're good. Or kind of not quite straight. There we go. So yeah, we are golden in there like so. She's pretty brand new, so it's a little tight in there, but it goes pretty simple. So here we'll show you how to hook this up right quick together. I have my HP server power supply all plugged in, ready to go. The power is off until I hit the on button. There you go, see we're on. So we're gonna turn that back off again. Now, I had someone in my Discord ask about this before, so if you still hear a noise or something, your server power supply is still running. It is on unless you unplug it. They do not have power switches on them, but there is no power here with this switch. This switch is only on and off for the breakout board itself. So we're gonna start here. We are gonna plug in our 24 pin. Let me just get the cable. So as said, make sure you always follow the clips. See, here's the clip, and there will be a clip on this side right here. So we will plug that in like so. So there we go, we are in here. And now we will take the other 24 pin, which goes to our motherboard. And obviously the side that has split out like this is the side for your motherboard. And where they're together is obviously this is your main power going to your breakout board. So we are using a B250 mining expert for this. We're just going to plug this into the A slot. We're not putting any cards or nothing on. This is just to show you we can run this motherboard off this with no fancy Pico switches, because this is what this breakout board is designed to do, is to run your system. So there we go. We are all plugged in, ready to roll. This power button should turn on our actual motherboard. Hit the button, and there we go. This system is now up and running. That easy. What was that, like 1 minute? Not even. So we're going to shut this off. I'm going to plug in a fan now just so I can show you the fan controller. Before I do that, we'll quickly go over the fan controller port. Here we are looking at the fan controller ports, and I did just put them side by side. I'll squeeze them a little closer together just so you don't get them mixed up. But as you can see, these two have the red and they have these power management. So these power management switches are to say you wanted your motherboard to run off or you wanted these banks of fans here to run off your motherboard CPU fans, say, you'd plug that in here, and then you could run it from your motherboard BIOS, and it follows all these banks right here. And the red, I'm assuming, is just to start right here, and that's the start of the bank. Normally on like normal fan controllers, The red one is actually your power management, and this is what takes the number and the speed, and then it would run the banks for it. But for this is your power management, and it will run this whole bank here. And it's vice versa. If you wanted this side to run off your system fan, and that would run all these banks here, and they would control all the fans based on their bank. Now here, there's only one power management. So if you want power management, you'd hook this to your system or wherever, and all these banks are going to read off that. Now you don't need to use this, and I don't recommend it, because you'd probably be using this for, say, your mining rig system fans, so you're blowing air at your cards. So you'll just run them direct, and that means each fan plugged in will be running at 100%. So with all that being said, I'm just going to plug this fan into whatever port it goes into first. I guess this one here. Hopefully it doesn't get caught. There's little bars under there, so that should be guarding it from this cord. But we will find out. If something lights on fire, that'd be sweet, but hopefully that doesn't happen. So we're going to turn this on. This fan should turn on. Obviously we can fit 20 fans here on this, so that's a lot for a rig. And we're going to run our system all off an HP server power supply. And here we go. There. Fan is engaged. System is on. Breakout board is on. Power is flowing everywhere. Everything's looking good. Load this up. Like I said, if you use a 2400 watt CPU, you could easily fill 13, 14 cards off one power supply, one system. You probably need 2 breakout boards on that 2400. But yeah, looking sweet. Here we can kind of see our current going by, our 12 volt. We're still not getting any amps or anything on here, because we'll probably need cards to pull that off. And yeah, so looking good. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a wicked breakout board to run your complete system. No need for more expensive ATX power supplies, especially if you're running 240 volt. If you're a crypto miner, most people are probably running 240 volt, because it is a lot cheaper to get 1200 watts than it is to buy like 270 50 watts ATX power supplies. But yeah, no problems running multiple cards with so many PCI Express slots to choose from. This can power your complete system. It is just, I highly recommend this board. I use it. It's awesome. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Links to buy below, and Rabid out.